I know a lot of people have joined us since we started. My name is Elizabeth O'Toole, and I'm the moderator for the forum this evening. I am a disinterested party, which means I cannot vote in the Village of Lisle. This is a forum and not a debate. Questions are to address the issues and not the personalities. Our timer tonight is Paula Gleason. She will display signs, including 30 seconds and stop. Due to constraints, we may not get to all questions. Please turn off your cell phones, and there is no pictures or videotaping. I would like to welcome the village trustee candidates, Anthony Carballo, Kelly Dixit, Christy Grau, Marie Hassey, Brad Hettick, Christy McGovern, and Albert Lazaro is a candidate, but he was unable to join us this evening due to business traveling. We would request that you hold applause until the end of the forum. We will ask questions in alphabetical order. You will have 2 minutes for opening remarks, 2 minutes per question, and 2 minutes for closing statements. We do have a lot of candidates this evening and questions, so please be concise with your answers. Mr. Carballo, your opening statement.
Thank you. My name is Tony Carballo. First of all, I want to thank the Chamber for hosting this event. I want to also thank the residents for coming tonight and those residents who are also going to be watching this on television. I'm proud to have served first term. I'm just finishing my first term as trustee. I'm proud to have served with Mayor Broda, with the other trustees, and with our staff. And I can say that based on the last 4 years, I think we have an excellent mayor, we have an excellent board, everyone that's currently on the board, as well as an excellent staff here in the Village of Lisle. I consider myself a public servant rather than a politician. And I'd like to start by telling you a little bit about my experience. I began my career as an assistant state's attorney where I worked for 8 years as a criminal prosecutor. I've served on the Lisle Park District Board for 8 years from 2005 to 2013. And as I mentioned, I've served as a village trustee for the past 4 years from 2013 to present. I've also served and continue to serve on Lisle Convention and Visitors Bureau and the Economic Development Commission in Lisle. I'm a member of the Lisle Rotary Club and the Chamber of Commerce. I'm a business litigation attorney who has served as an attorney for over 30 years. My wife Julie and I moved to Lisle 23 years ago. We bought our first and only house here in Lisle, and we raised our 3 children here in Lisle.
30 seconds.
I have been endorsed by the Daily Herald, by the mayor, by the other trustees that I've served on the board with. I'm proud of our accomplishments, which you will hear about tonight. Lisle is in a very strong fiscal position. We have outstanding village services. We've increased economic development over the past 4 years. Well over $100 million in new development and businesses have come into Lisle. And we've expanded our civic engagement. So I look forward to talking about those tonight, and again, I thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Dixit.
Hello, I am Kelly Dixit. I live in Lisle for the past 14 years, the longest place I've ever lived in my life. Lisle is my hometown. I can tell you stories of why I'm a proud resident and how much I care for our village. Instead, I'll let my actions of running for trustee position speak volumes on my behalf. I would like to focus on my views of leadership in the next 2 minutes. I believe that the foundation of leadership is trust and integrity. I believe that a leader isn't a leader when they're patting themselves on their backs for a job well done or shaking hands with people at happy occasions like restaurant openings and parades. Instead, leaders are holding the hands of flood victims and understanding the deep loss when residents hear for the first time that their homes cannot be saved. A leader stands by your side in bad times and communicates solutions even if there is none.
1 minute.
A leader makes the tough decisions and does not borrow millions of dollars from reserve funds for beautification programs in the downtown area during an economic crisis in hopes of revitalization. I believe in leaders who hold people's hold people accountable without favoritism. Leaders must make difficult decisions with a soft hand, allow people to be independent and not micromanage. I believe that a leader addresses problems before they balloon into
30
something
seconds.
that cannot be managed. My education and professional background has prepared me to lead Lisle for future generations. I have led Fortune 500 companies to cut costs, become more efficient while communicating with integrity and honor. I would like to do the same for Lisle, as well as a part of the Prosperity for Lisle team. I look forward to answering your questions this evening. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Ms. Grau.
Good evening. Thank you for coming here tonight to discuss the important issues that we face as a community. My name is Christy Grau, and I am currently seeking the office of Village Trustee. I was recently endorsed by the Daily Herald for this office. I have been an active participant in the governing process as it relates to our village. I have been attending board meetings regularly for the past 4 years, and I sit on the Flood Information Program Committee. I exercise my right to vote in local elections. 4 of my opponents did not vote in the 2015 election. I did vote, and I took it one step further. I ran for the office of Village Trustee. I saw a need for change, and I ran a campaign that I can be proud of. I lost by only 16 votes. I continued to show up for meetings over the years, and I've spoken out when I felt it was necessary to do so. I've attended meetings with the county as it relates to our flooding issues, as well as meetings regarding our plan for downtown Lisle. Members of our village board should be well informed on these issues.
1 minute.
There are many people in this community who supported my effort in 2015. My core beliefs and views on the issues haven't changed. I have a very diverse background. I was a researcher for the Oprah Winfrey Show, a criminal intelligence analyst for the government, and a teacher for the public school system. I have worked with people from all walks of life, from celebrities to policemen to first graders, and everyone in between. I have the ability to work well within a team, but I also possess the strength to stand alone for something that I believe in, which is exactly what I am doing today. I bring an independent voice to the village board. I am not aligned with any side. I believe in making decisions based on factual research. The Daily Herald endorsed me because I'm not afraid to ask the tough questions. I don't have a war chest with tens of thousands of dollars in it. I still don't have giant signs. But I do have the drive, commitment, and ability to work hard to get the job done. You get to cast 3 votes for Village Trustee on April 4th. I ask that you cast one of them for me, Christy Grau, an independent candidate. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hasse.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming. My name is Marie Hasse, and I have lived in Lisle for the past 18 years with my husband and 2 daughters. We chose Lisle for many reasons: small town, excellent schools, large trees, and convenient location for commuting. Prior to staying home with my girls, I worked as an accountant with Bic Pens and Waste Management. Since then, I have been actively involved in my daughter's school and church activities, Lisle Girl Scouts, and other community events. I love the small town feel of Lisle and am proud to call Lisle my home. However, over the past 8 to 10 years, I have been disappointed with the way that the community has declined. We used to have window decorating contests, trick-or-treating, pony rides, and Santa visits every year at the shopping center near my house. We used to go downtown and get bakery goods and a sandwich. That is non-existent now. In addition to stores closing, my property taxes have increased substantially since we moved in. I started paying attention and attending village board meetings, and to be honest, I was appalled at how residents were treated when they got up to voice their concerns. Working in a volunteer role has taught me first and foremost to listen and learn so that I may best serve others. Our elected officials are important role models for our future generations. Boy Scouts regularly attend the village board meetings. The mayor and trustees should teach all of us how to uphold the morals and values of our village. An Open Meeting Act violation that occurred in June of last year certainly does not teach our youth the right way to run a village. An open and transparent government is essential to provide Lisle residents and businesses with the confidence and accountability that is needed for our village to prosper and grow. Opening up conversations that provide a safe place for everyone to contribute their ideas will be the cornerstone to future success. I intend to work hard and put in the time and effort to meet our goals of freezing taxes, advocating for transparency, and treating all citizens with kindness and respect. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Heddick.
Good evening. I'd first like to thank the Lisle Chamber of Commerce for putting this event on and all the residents for participating. For those who don't know me, I've been a Lisle resident for 10 years. And me and my wife, Kathy, chose to move to Lisle because it reminded us of the small town communities that we grew up in. And we've grown to just love this community. I've been very active in this town since I moved here. I'm a Lisle Rotarian and a past club president. I've been former treasurer and current chairman of Lisle Eyes Disguise Festival. I've served on numerous other committees, and I've coached multiple sports teams. In addition, professionally, for those who do not know, I run a consulting company, and we work with a lot of small business owners, and through my work, I get to see best practices in business. I'm involved in financial planning and budgeting, and I work actively with the development community. And I bring that experience of quality development and financial management and best business practices to my position here as a village trustee. I was a planning and zoning commissioner for 4 years before serving 4 years as a village trustee. And for even a year prior to that, I was on the Ogden Avenue Corridor Commission. So I spent 9 years working towards the future of Lisle. And I'm proud to say that we have accomplished a lot in the last 4 years. Between downtown starting to redevelop, between new developments going in on Ogden Avenue, the highest occupancy rate we've had on Warrenville Road in years, new jobs, higher sales taxes, new housing, all to the benefit of Lisle residents. Going forward, I want to continue this drive to bring businesses to Lisle and continue the development that's occurred. I was also endorsed by the Daily Herald, and I hope that you will all vote for me on April 4th. Brad Heddick for Village Trustee.
Thank you. Ms. McGovern.
Good evening. Thank you for coming. My name is Christy McGovern. I love that 14 years ago, my husband and I decided to raise our family in Lisle because of its neighborly community and strong family values. Over the years, we have moved 3 times as our family grew, but consciously decided to choose Lisle every time because we know that Lisle is the best place for us. I'm a teacher, a working mother of 4 boys. The age span of my children allow me to relate to many different families in Lisle through our participation and involvement in an array of community activities, school opportunities, volunteer opportunities, and sporting events. The friends I have gained have given me great perspective on issues and priorities of our residents and drive my enthusiasm and my spirit. I have made being a community contributor a priority and served on the board of the Green Trails Improvement Association for 6 years. And I am a regular volunteer at the Eyes to the Skies Festival. I feel very fortunate to live in a town with such a perfect balance between access to world-class opportunities like the Morton Arboretum, Sea Lion Park, large corporate headquarters, hometown feel of a Main Street parade, community park on the weekend, the Lights of Lisle, Christmas Festival, Prairie Walk Pond Park, just to name a few. I want to work to maintain that balance. I am fiscally responsible not only on our village's board, but with my family as well. Because of this, I shop for my boys' clothes at resales that benefit Lisle schools, as searching for the best values ingrained in me. I was here in the 2013 flood and understand that there is still much more work to be done on behalf of the citizens whose lives have been turned upside down. These are important issues and deserve full attention and effort from our local government, but they are not the only issues. I have learned that the problem with focusing on one issue is that you lose sight of the balance and how one thing affects the other. You end up sacrificing town safety, holiday decorations, celebrations, and family traditions and family attractions. You sacrifice the reason that young families see Lisle as a wonderful place to settle and raise their families, as I did, as I have. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll start with our first question. Ms. Dixit. What new actions would you take to encourage business growth in the downtown and Ogden Avenue corridor?
The first and foremost is processes. Currently, the processes are not as designed or efficient, and I'd like to work on processes as well as communication and talking to other communities, brokers. There's a lot of opportunity out there to bring businesses to Lisle, which we have not explored. So setting up possibly a group of people that can contribute and guide us to the next level and assist us in bringing those businesses back. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Grau.
Well, the village board's focus should be on increasing economic development, which will increase our tax base. The Ogden Avenue corridor between I-355 and Napier Boulevard consists of one vacant business after another. This stretch of land could attract consumers from neighboring cities and towns from every direction, considering its proximity to two major highways. The absence of development puts a greater burden of taxation onto individual homeowners. So how do we attract the new businesses? Well, first and foremost, local elected leaders must first demonstrate that small businesses are important to a community. Second, effective communication between small business community and the local government is essential. And third, unclear regulations with confusing steps are especially burdensome on new and small businesses. We must eliminate some of the red tape and help guide the small businesses through the process. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hesse?
To encourage growth on Ogden Avenue, I think the first step would be we need to remove a mandatory business registration that all new businesses need to do to come into Lisle. We also need to make Lisle a little more business-friendly. I believe Lisle has a negative view or a negative look to them from outside companies. I think this transpired from probably 2001 onward. Businesses have gotten the vibe that Lisle is very difficult to do business with. There's really no reason to work there. The car dealerships, from what I've heard, were trying to upgrade their businesses, and when Lisle wasn't willing to work with them, they decided to take their business elsewhere, and they went to Naperville. So I think that's something that we definitely need to work on, is to make our village more attractive and make it easier for companies to come in. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Heddick?
Well, I'm going to first talk about what has been done. Roughly 9 years ago, I was part of the Ogden Avenue Corridor Commission, which specifically looked at doing development along Ogden Avenue. And as the mayor said, there are challenges due to the depth of a lot of the lots. And there are also challenges due to some sites that are tainted. But that plan put together a framework that the village now uses when new businesses come in that include beautification and other enhancements to those properties. The village has hired an economic development director roughly 2.5 years ago that has helped go out into the community and draw more businesses into the village. So we've already taken steps there. We've been part of a process to do a new master plan for downtown, taking into account the Marquette project and part of Ogden Avenue, and expand there. So there is process and stuff in the works, on top of which there's a new TIF in place for downtown as well. Could we do more? Of course. You need to continue to reach out to the business community, and we need to continue to utilize the resources that we have. But I do feel a lot has been accomplished. And a few more things I want to mention about Ogden Avenue. Ogden Avenue has the highest occupancy rate that it's had in years. You have a new senior housing project that went in. We have a new long-term care facility that's going to go in on Ogden Avenue. It's a $20 million facility, a substantial investment. We have Dunkin' Donuts. We have a pool store. We have the Marquette project downtown that is real close to Ogden, and businesses throughout town. It is not true we are hard to work with. Companies like Navistar and Universal Technical Institute wouldn't come to Lisle and invest the time and money if we were difficult to work with. The last thing I want to clarify, right around the time of the economic downturn, car dealerships were forced by their manufacturers to consolidate in dealership rows in communities. That unfortunately meant dealerships had to leave Lisle to consolidate into Naperville. That it was no fault of the village, and we are working diligently to try to get properties sold, and hopefully people that own those properties will lower the purchase prices so we can do so.
Thank you. Ms. McGovern?
In the age that we live in, lots of people do shop online. I'm guilty of it myself. But until developers see that we do support small businesses in our town along Main Street, I think that there's a waiting period. And because we have the Marquette building coming and contracts signed for some family businesses who are operating out of the Marquette building, I think that will encourage businesses to come in and feel confident about opening their businesses along the Ogden corridor. We have SACID that's come in this past year along Ogden, a luxury car dealership along Ogden. I think it's going to keep going, but I think that the business owners need to see it develop. And I think as residents, we need to support our small town and support those small businesses. The lots are small, and I think they're very viable for those businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carbello.
I've been on the village board for 4 years, and I'm very proud of what the board has accomplished in those 4 years. And I agree with everything that Brad and Christie have said about what has been done. We have developed over the past 4 years a plan for the development, and we have, as I mentioned in my opening, over $100 million in new business and development just in the last couple of years. As Brad mentioned, we've hired an economic development coordinator. We have an economic development commission that I sit on. We've updated our master plan for downtown. We're currently working and finishing that master plan right now, and a lot of good things have happened with that. We've done a market analysis study. We're currently working on a parking study. As Brad mentioned, we TIF'd the corner of Main and Ogden for downtown development. We've had a lot going on in downtown. We have a $50 million development, the Marquette project going on now. Once that is built, it's going to be a beautiful building, and that has already fostered a lot of other interest in development. And contrary to what has been said here, Lisle is business friendly. Our staff and our board is business friendly. As far as the car dealerships, as Brad said, that they didn't leave because it was unbusiness friendly. They left because of consolidation in the auto industry. But if you look on downtown, if you look downtown to see what's happening, we have a brand new Ramey's restaurant, a beautiful restaurant. Yerba Buena, next whiskey bar is going in, Euro Crepes. We have the transitional care facility that's a $16 million investment that's going in Ogden. Art of Good Eating. We have other new businesses. We have newly remodeled, the Nook has just been newly remodeled, and Aviva. And I ask people to ask some of the business owners if Lisle is business friendly. Ask the owner of the Nook, ask the owner of Aviva and these other businesses, and they'll tell you that Lisle is in fact business friendly. A lot of good things have happened, and they're continuing.
Thank you. Next question, we'll start with Ms. Grau. What is your position on home rule?
My position on home rule. Well, from what I understand on what home rule means, I believe there's a population requirement for the village to even be considered for home rule, and Lisle does not meet that population requirement, and I don't think it will meet that population requirement in the next census. So I don't really think it's a valid question at this point. So I see there's benefits and disadvantages to it, but until we get to that population requirement, I don't think it's necessary to have a conversation about it. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Hasse?
I agree with Christie. I do believe there is a population requirement for home rule. I believe it's 25,000, and I do not think Lisle is near that yet. If we were to come to that growth and hit that number, I would vote no for home rule. I believe home rule would impose a lot of additional taxes onto the residents that the residents would not have a choice on. There would be no referendums on different items that they could vote on whether they wanted their taxes to be increased to pay for those items. So I would vote no for home rule. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Heddick?
So as it relates to home rule, as all the abilities a village would get under a home rule, I am not a fan of, and I don't think we need that in the village of Lisle. I think we have sufficient sources of revenue today, and we don't need additional taxing revenues. However, I would like to see the state change some of the rules for non-home rule community and give us some of the control over housing and enforcement that we don't currently have as a village. So I am for some of those, the state changing some of its laws so we get the ability to control some stuff, so we can better protect our citizens, so we can be sure that the quality of the housing and the apartments that people live in is high quality. And right now, we just don't have the ability to enforce certain things. So there's aspects I would like to see us get, but not get home rule. And that's going to take us continuing to work and lobby with the state of Illinois. So, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McGovern?
The population is 25,000 in order to be a home rule community, and I also feel like we are not going to reach that population in the near future. I think that being a part of associations within our state, such as Illinois Municipal League and other associations where mayors and managers and governors can discuss issues on fostering change in taxing laws, or on how to distribute taxing or keep our housing facilities safer, is such an advantage. It's where we start to change some of the laws to make it a safer community for us within those associations. And we do receive grants by being a part of those associations. So it's a hot topic, and I'm going to continue to watch it.
Thank you. Mr. Carballo?
I agree with what has been said by some of the other candidates. Lisle does not have the population to be home rule. I do agree with what Brad said also, though, that I think that for non-home rule municipalities like Lisle, that we should work to change some rules so that we're not limited because of being a non-home rule. Most of our surrounding municipalities are home rule, but one of the things that the benefits of being non-home rule is our sales taxes in Lisle are the lowest of all the surrounding communities, which is I think a benefit for our community. The sales taxes are lower, and that does benefit the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Dixit?
I believe that the home rule is a mixed or a dual-edged sword. There are a lot of benefits, there's a lot of negatives. I haven't done enough research to answer it to its extent, nor had conversations with people who are knowledgeable on home rule. But from what I do know, it does take 25,000 or more. We're not there yet. It does take a village, and I do know that the village has already said no once to home rule. I have to, with the little knowledge I do know, I would have to disagree with home rule in its entirety. The benefits don't exceed the negatives. And so at this point, I would say no. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question will start with Ms. Hassey. Do you support video gaming as a source of revenue?
I think video gaming is a slippery slope. We were just discussing that up here before we were actually questioned. I have heard of some towns putting it in different restaurants and gaining some revenue from it. At this point, I do not think it would be a tool that we would want to use in Lisle. I don't think it would benefit our residents, because I believe it would be our residents that would be putting the money into these machines. And I think we're looking to save them some money, not gamble it away. So I would be against video gaming.
Thank you. Mr. Heddick?
I have voted against video gaming, and I would continue to do so with one caveat. If the state of Illinois would change the law and allow us to allow it for one organization and not others, I would support it for the VFW to get video gaming. In the past, they were allowed to have video gaming machines. It was a key component of their income. And as a nonprofit organization, if they wanted to bring it back, I would be okay with that in that circumstance. But unfortunately, as the law stands today, if we allow one, we have to allow everybody. And so unless that changes, I'm not in favor of video gaming.
Thank you. Ms. McGovern?
I believe that video gaming does not promote a family-friendly atmosphere in our town, so I am opposed.
Thank you. Mr. Carballo?
I previously, while I served on the board, I voted against video gaming. However, I do know that the VFW has requested video gaming, and that they feel that they need video gaming because of the lack of revenue that they have. And unfortunately, as Brad had mentioned, we don't have the ability to approve it for one one business and not allow it for another at this time because of the law. But, you know, I am against video gaming. I see some of these towns where they have advertisements outside of their businesses for video gaming, and I think it looks terrible. It really does not benefit the town. It does not benefit the look of the town, and I would not support it except for possibly the VFW if there was a way to give them what they requested, the video gaming.
Thank you. Ms. Dixit.
I would oppose the video gaming. We have far more important and better ways to generate sales revenue for our community, and I'd like to explore those before even considering such an option. It's just not something that I think that we, as family-oriented community, a small town, should entertain. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Grau.
Well, I 100% agree with everything Brad said on the issue. I don't support it across the board, but if we could allow it for organizations like the VFW, I think that would be a good thing. But if we have to allow it across the board, I would say no. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question, we'll start with Mr. Haddock. Do you believe the village should extend into agreement with Illinois Benedictine University? If so, why? If no, why?
I'm sorry, that is a very vague question, and I'm not sure what you're getting at. Why would we extend into an agreement with Benedictine University?
I'm not from Lisle, so I'm not from Lisle, so I'm not sure where the question's coming from.
I'm going to have to say I don't have an answer because I don't know in what context you're asking the question. So I will pass.
I don't know if that's regarding bond refinance.
I don't know.
Could you repeat the question?
It says, do you believe the Village of Lisle should have it entered into an agreement with Illinois Benedictine?
Should have entered into an agreement with,
Illinois Benedictine.
okay. I believe that's in regard to annexation of the property. It was an agreement, if
I'm
this
not-
is right, on the Benedictine Stadium. I'm not really sure what to address, but I do want to address that the bond refinance did save our town millions of dollars. It was done, I wish, in a little more timely manner, but I support the bond refinance, if that answers the question. I'm still a little confused.
My apologies. Mr. Carballo?
Well, just generally, I would say that I would have no problem with the village entering into an agreement with Benedictine University, depending on what the terms of the agreement were, and that it benefited the village and benefited Benedictine as well. A lot of it would depend on what the terms of the agreement are, but I believe that Benedictine University is an excellent partner in the village of Lisle. It's a beautiful university, and I'm very proud of the fact that Benedictine just built a new school of business that I think adds a lot to our town, and I think the school also adds a lot to our community. I think the question, though, may be related to the as they previously indicated, the refinancing of the bonds for the Benedictine Sports Complex. And there was an agreement that was previously entered into between the Village of Lisle and the Benedictine University, and this is long before I got on the village board. And I think there were benefits to that agreement, and I think that as far as the bond refinancing goes, I think that also, as Trustee had mentioned, was a benefit to refinance those bonds, was a benefit for the village, because it allowed the bond payments to be paid out of the hotel motel tax, and also we saved over $1 million as a result of refinancing those bonds. So if that's what the question related to, that's how I feel.
Thank you. Ms. Dixit?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Do you believe the village should have entered into an agreement with Benedictine University? If yes, why? If no, why?
The question, first and foremost, is not clear. If it is something that we would want to do again, there was an agreement that was out there for the Benedictine Stadium to assist them in providing lights. We were supposed to be getting hotel motel tax revenue. It was an $11 million project that, in my eyes, completely failed. The bond issue that was refinanced and how we saved money, at the end of the day, we spent $11 million. And that stadium, in return, Benedictine will give us $1 for that particular transaction. I don't believe that that was a good decision. And I don't know if in the future, if we were to get into an agreement with Benedictine to improve whatever, I think we would have to evaluate the situation at that time, get the risk and reward situations, and talk about it amongst the community, and really understand what it would entail and how we would get a benefit from the university. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Grau?
Yeah, well, if this question is in regards to the building of the sports complex over at Benedictine University, I think originally the hope of the sports complex was to bring in visitors from outside our community to stay in our hotels and eat in our restaurants, and it would be a win-win for both the village and the university. I don't think I would approve such a thing now. Benedictine's a private college, and we're a government. I don't think the two should cross paths. I believe that the sports complex has benefited the university tremendously, and I don't think it's benefited us as a town. We're the ones left paying the bill. So I would say no in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Hasse?
The Benedictine Stadium, as far as I'm concerned, was a failure. The village paid $11 million for this stadium, and we were supposed to get naming rights and substantial hotel revenue from this deal. From what I understand, I think I heard one concert there, and the whole time I've lived there, I live within not far, a few blocks away, and I could hear the music. There was a baseball team there at one time. That did not last long either. And I did not see very many events promoted at the stadium. The bonds were refinanced in 2016. The refinancing resulted in an Open Meeting Act violation. This was in June, and I was at that June meeting. There have been thousands of dollars spent in legal fees and billed to the Village of Lisle that the taxpayers have paid for. The partial tape from that Open Meeting Act was finally released last week, not in its entirety. The Attorney General ruled today that the whole tape needs to be released to be open and transparent. And as far as Benedictine, they will buy the stadium from us in 2029, and they will pay $1 for the stadium, and we will finish paying off those bonds in 2033. So, bad deal.
30 seconds.
Thank you. Next question, Ms. McGovern, you'll go first. What percentage of your tax bill is the village's portion, and did your property tax go up this year?
I think it's been stated a few times, 6% of the property tax bill is the portion that goes to the village. And we do have a tentative tax rate for 2016 of 0.4844. So that is decreasing. Did my tax bill go down? Actually, it did, because I appealed it. We moved in recently, and we were able to appeal it for our purchase price. The real estate market hasn't been super stable in many years due to the recession. So it's hard to get, market values. I think our property tax rates, which are based upon our, our assessment of our house, they vary a bit, but I think for the 6%
1 minute.
of the property tax that goes to our village, once again, that is $4, a little over $4.41 for an average family of 4, about $1.20 a person. I'm very satisfied with the services that I get from our town for that rate. I think our police department is outstanding. Our park district's outstanding. Our public works, our roads are, this winter wasn't as relevant, but our roads are better cleaned than any other system in our area. And it costs money to live in Lisle, and I'm proud to live in Lisle.
Thank you. Mr. Carballo?
As Christie stated, the village portion of the property tax is 6% of the tax bill. And as far as our taxes, our property taxes, I think they've remained fairly constant or flat during the past 4 years. I think it's important to point out, as I think the mayor previously pointed out during his session, is that of the property tax bills, as most people know, the majority of the property taxes, 62% is for the school districts, 10% is for the fire district, and 6% goes to the village, 6% goes to the park district, and then there's a few other taxing bodies that's broken up. But as far as the 6% the village gets, I think that over the past 4 years, the village has been excellent stewards of the taxpayer money. Most of, as Mayor Broda, thank you, as Mayor Broda indicated, most of the property taxes that are paid goes to the police department, both for police services and police pension. And just a very small portion goes to other obligations. But the majority of the revenue that's used for other services that are provided comes from the sales tax revenue. And I'm also proud to say that in the past 4 years that I've been on the board,
30 seconds.
Thank you. Past 4 years that I've been on the board, our sales tax revenue has significantly increased each of the years from 2014, where it was 3.8 million, all the way to 2016, where our sales tax revenue has grown to $4.2 million. So as far as the taxes are concerned, sales tax revenue is growing.
Time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Dixit?
I think we all know how much our property taxes are. 6% is what we have. That's the maximum allowable rate, and we've increased it for 16 years. Every year, it has been increased, the maximum allowable. I can't say that enough. It is a small portion of our tax bill, of our property tax bill, but I feel like something needs to be done. We can't just continue to increase without thought. Freezing tax, that little portion, is enough to generate new ideas and come up with solutions on how to cost effectively save the village money in other areas so that we're not constantly asking the residents to pay additional tax dollars. We've in 2007 or 8, I believe, we implemented a utility tax to compensate for the lack of sales tax that we have generated. Again, it's coming back
1 minute.
to our residents, the people that pay money to live in Lisle, and that's what we're looking at in the future. I'd like to be a leader in changing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Grau?
Well, first I'd like to say that reducing property taxes as a whole is really beyond the scope of the village board. As has been set up here, only about 6% of your total tax bill actually goes to the village of Lisle. As far as my tax bill personally, I think it went up about $7 to the village of Lisle. So to me, $7 is worth the services that we get. About a good portion of that 6% we have to keep in perspective. That goes to our police department and our police pension. We have a fantastic police department here in Lisle. We rely on them to keep us safe, I think they do a fantastic job, and I would caution doing anything to risk taking money away from them. Thank you.
Ms. Hasse?
Property taxes in Lisle have gone up by the maximum amount allowed over the last 16 years. When I first moved into Lisle 18 years ago, we used to get a rebate check for a portion of those taxes. It wasn't large, but it was a rebate check. That went away within 2 years. Over the past 10 years, our property taxes have risen by 28%. Home values have dropped. That's resulted in an almost 40% increase in the tax rate. Increased property taxes place an undue burden on local families, many who live on a fixed budget. I have talked to many people when I have been out every weekend looking at different neighborhoods and talking to residents, and I have talked to quite a few who have told me, we have to move. We cannot afford to stay in Lisle. The property taxes are killing me, and they are moving to Naperville. That is a big loss. These are families that have been in Lisle their whole lives.
1 minute.
We need to freeze the property taxes and control the spending. It needs to stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McGovern, I would like to know about the volunteer and civic experience you have. Oh, my gosh, I'm so sorry. My apologies, Mr. Heddick.
I didn't say pass this time.
I'm sorry.
So the 6% number's been thrown out a bunch, and I'm going to be repetitive. Less than 6%. What I'm going to focus, and personally, yes, my bill did go up, both to an increase in house value and because we raised the levy. We control the levy, not the tax rate. We raised the levy. The max we can raise the levy is 0.7%. Per $100,000 of home value, that equates to $1.12. Village-wide, it was $34,000. Our increase in operating expenses, let's just look at inflation. Inflation's gone up by more than 3% in almost, outside of the downturn, almost every year. On top of that, we have increasing costs for police and police and police pensions. But I'll tell residents, on a $300,000 home, you're gonna pay roughly $40 a month in taxes to the Village of Lisle. Those tax dollars go for roads, waters, sewer. It's gonna go for keeping the roads clean during the winter, leaf pickup projects, recycling.
1 minute.
Our police force, everything the Public Works does, everything the Village Services provide. It is not expensive. Our core tax rate, outside of Woodridge, is one of the lowest in the counties. I can't control the Lisle Woodridge Fire District tax rate. I can't control the Park District tax rate. I cannot control the school district tax rate. Would I like them all lower? Most certainly I would. But for what you actually pay for the services you get in Lisle, I believe it is an
30
incredible
seconds.
bargain, and it is part of the reason why Lisle is such a great community to live in. So I think that covers my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, and my apologies. Ms. McGovern, I would like to know about your volunteer and civic experience for the Village of Lisle and how it will make you a better candidate as trustee.
Sure. I have been involved for quite a while. We moved into Green Trails. I had very young children, wasn't able to volunteer at that time, but as soon as I could get out of the house or sneak out, I joined the Green Trails Improvement Association Board. I sat on that board for 6 years, and while on that board, I learned a lot about the Village of Lisle, and I learned to love Village of Lisle even more. The emphasis put on trees, the surveys that we did on parks, the park district meetings I attended on a regular basis. It opened my eyes to the volunteer opportunities. I've worked at volunteered at the Eyes to the Skies Festival, and it's a goal of mine to continue to be civically involved, and I hope to remain a trustee on the village board. I think that I can make a lot of difference here, and I make good decisions, and I think it's very important for one to use their God-given talents and share it. So volunteering's my thing. I wish I had more free time.
Thank you. Mr. Carballo.
I think that's a very good question. I think it's very important for the voters to look at what the candidates have been involved in over the years and how they've given of themselves to both public service and volunteer work. And I can say that I've been involved, as I said in my opening, I've been involved in Lisle pretty much since we moved here 24 years ago. I began my career as a lawyer working in public service as an assistant state's attorney, as I said. I've served on the Lisle Park Board for 8 years. I've served as a village trustee then for the last 4 years. I've also been a member of the board of the Lisle Convention and Visitors Bureau for many years, since the time I was on the park board. I am a member of the Economic Development Commission. So I've given a lot of my time over the years, both in positions of public service and volunteer work. I mentioned previously I'm a member of the Lisle Rotary Club, and also I'm involved in, my wife and I are involved in our church at St. Margaret Mary, and I've coached, when my kids were younger, I've coached at St. Joan of Arc. My kids I've coached in the Lisle Park District. My wife and I have both been involved in coaching in the Lisle Park District. My wife and I volunteer with pads, and also over the years I've volunteered in the community with the Eyes to the Skies and other volunteer work within the community.
Thank you. Ms. Dixit.
I've volunteered in a variety of different ways over the last 10 years. I've been a stay-home mom, taking care of my young son. When he was able to get out there and help as well through Boy Scout events, making sure and ensuring that our village had roots for him was an important part of what I did. I was involved in his school, the park district, coaching soccer, as well as putting a literacy program together, and helping the school as well, doing a variety of things. And globally, I've also helped out with domestic violence, as well as the American Cancer Society. There's a variety of opportunities that I've had, but because I was focused on my family, I didn't put in the time and effort to make more time for volunteerism. At this point in my life, I can and I will be, and that's why I'm here, working very hard at getting to be a trustee to help support our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Grau.
Well, first, I sit on the Flood Information Program Committee here in the Village of Lisle. I regularly attend the village board meetings. I attend all meetings with DuPage County in regards to the flooding in Lisle. I volunteer at the schools every chance I get. I teach at the elementary school here in Lisle. I strive to be an example for the children of the community, as well as build meaningful relationships with all members of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hasse.
I also have been a stay-at-home mom for the past 16 years. When my oldest daughter started school at St. Joan of Arc, I became heavily involved there. Basically, I was room mom, reading mom, you name it, I've done it. Very involved with the kids and the kids' activities. As they've grown, it has evolved into other areas. I was the Lisle Girl Scout volunteer coordinator for the whole school, and I dealt with the Lisle Girl Scouts, the location that was on Ogden Avenue, and did a lot of civic and community involvement with them. We did Lights of Lisle with the luminaries. We did that for quite a few years. Also did the Polar Express train. So that was through Girl Scouts. Again, as I said, as my girls have gotten older, the activities have changed. I don't need to be a room mom planning parties anymore. I've evolved into coaching my daughter's volleyball team and track teams, both daughters' track teams. And I love doing it, honestly. It's very rewarding to watch the girls get together and really work together as a team. As far as other community involvements, I've also worked with the Park District for the Scarecrow Scramble. My daughter and I have done that 5K probably about 6, 7 years now. We have quite a few shirts. That's one of our favorite October activities. So that's what I've done so far, and I look forward to doing more. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Heddick?
I've been very involved in the community since I moved, actually before I moved to Lisle. I worked in Lisle for 5 years prior to moving here, and I got very involved then, not only events with the Chamber of Commerce, but I joined the Rotary Club and eventually became a Rotary Club president. Probably the thing that I feel strongest about is my involvement with the Lisle Eyes Disguise Festival Committee, which I got involved in through Rotary. The festival the old festival committee died, and we restarted it with a very small budget. Started with about $200,000 budget, and now we're operating with well over $1 million budget, and it's become a phenomenal event. And I've gotten to work with great people from all the major service organizations in town, and really tremendous people, and very proud to have served with them. And we've given away about $800,000 to charities. So I have not only gotten involved, and given money or gone and done events, I actually have helped run major events and been involved. And I think that's very important when it comes back to what we're talking about at the Village here, is that I know how to bring people together, I know how to plan and communicate, know how to budget and control costs and make things happen. And that's what I want to continue doing here for the Village. So I'm going to really quickly jump back to a question I passed on because I didn't get a chance. The Village did not pay $11 million for a Benedictine University facility. The Village supported about $5.5 million. That money is repaid from a 2% increase in the hotel motel tax. That's money that can't go to the general operating budget.
30 seconds. Can
only be used to promote Lisle. So we had a choice to make to take those bonds tax exempt, which would have saved the Village a substantial amount of money. Unfortunately, hotel tax revenues went down with the downturn. So we needed to find a way to not have Village funds needed to pay that off and continue to allow the 2% to pay it off. So we refinanced them. I'm very proud we did that. We saved the Village a lot of money. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carabo, sorry. How would you address the flooding issue in Lisle?
Well, as far as the flooding issue is concerned, we've done a lot to address that over the past 4 years. The flood that occurred in April of 2013, and I came on the board shortly after that flood during my first term. During the subsequent to the flood, we've obtained millions of dollars in FEMA grants. We are currently working with the Army Corps of Engineers and the county on a study that's underway by the Army Corps of Engineers to fix the problem with, and to hopefully prevent future flooding in Lisle. After the flood, we worked on debris removal. We've assisted families with flood-related issues and have worked with the county and the federal government in obtaining relief and mitigation for those affected by the flood. We also formed a flood information committee, which Christy Grau mentioned she sits on, and I think that has been a big benefit for the community. We've also increased preparations for flood-related activities and for other emergencies, including emergencies that may occur along the BNSF railway line. We have received storm-ready certification from the National Weather Service, and we've improved emergency communications, including Code Red, e-Notify, put in a new website, and electronic sign, other communication improvements to prepare for emergencies within the town, including flood-related emergencies.
Thank you. Ms. Dixit.
I think the flood issue is a very complex issue. It's another thing that has torn Lisle apart. There's a lot of mistrust in that community. One of the biggest things that I've heard from people who had experienced it in 2013 is the lack of transparency in getting communication to the residents there. I remember driving around that day, not recognizing our village, being awestruck and seeing the damage. And at that point, my first question was, if we knew that that was a flood plain, why is it that we waited so long to see the devastation? Could we not have done anything sooner? Again, I have not done enough research in this complex problem to give you a direct answer. I hope to when I'm elected, and I am able to research and get you the right answer and communicate that answer directly to the people, not just that are affected, but everyone that will be and could be. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Grau?
Well, I believe the flooding issues go well beyond the floodplain. When we look at the revitalization of downtown Main Street, all the discussion is geared towards bringing businesses to the downtown area. I agree that this is a major issue. However, what we never hear as any discussion is downtown's proximity to the floodplain. Several properties in the floodplain are being bought out right now with FEMA monies, attaching huge restrictions to these properties. They can never be developed ever again according to FEMA regulations. This means that vacant lots in a blighted neighborhood will remain a block away from our downtown and our train station. Rather than this neighborhood having increased property value due to its proximity to downtown and the train station and a higher property tax income for the village, we are removing property from the tax base. Every property tax dollar removed from the floodplain has to be made up for somewhere outside of the floodplain. This is an issue that affects every resident of Lisle, not just floodplain victims.
1 minute.
I believe our current approach actually is discouraging businesses from opening up shop in our downtown. We must address the failing levee if we want a thriving downtown. A potential business is going to look elsewhere when they realize that downtown sits along a floodplain with a failing levee and a board who has a do-nothing approach. This is a huge public safety issue as well. We have to change the way that we think about this. We need to actually acknowledge the flooding issues in our town and take steps to prevent a future flood as devastating
30 seconds.
as the flood of 2013. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hasse?
The floodplain issue is a very complex issue and definitely needs to be addressed, as I feel it really hasn't been addressed as it should have been. This was 4 years ago. The issue is how to most effectively protect people and property. All options need to be evaluated, including additional retention upstream, structural measures within Lisle, and additional drainage capacity. This is going to require a lot of research, and we definitely need to talk to the residents that are most affected. I believe the lack of communication with them has left them feeling very uncertain and scared. These are their homes. Their homes were not livable after this flood. We need to communicate with them what the options are and make the best decision going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Haddock?
I have, and I continue to feel terrible for what certain residents went through when that crisis hit. There's no question the amount of rain that we received in that 24-hour period was massive, and what happened was not expected, and could we have been better prepared? We certainly could have been. The village has taken great strides to get prepared since then, as Trustee Carballo already mentioned. The issue with the levee, though, is a very, very complex issue, and it's hard in a number of ways. First, the houses that were so badly devastated, FEMA won't allow people to rebuild there. So if we didn't buy out a lot of those residents, they would have just had to close up shop and lost their properties to the bank most likely, and nothing was going to be built there anyways because it's not allowed. The levee itself did not fail. It got topped. Could it fail in the future? Most certainly. But I've seen quotes from studies just to do minor repairs as low as 10 million, to completely rebuild as high as 50 million. And does it really make sense to put 50 million into levee, and where is that money going to come from? I really believe we have to wait and see what the Army Corps of Engineers comes back with from their study, and hope that the federal government will pick some of the bill up or a majority of the bill up and change it. But you have to understand the problem's not just in Lisle. The problem's what happens north of us on the DuPage River and east of us on St. Joseph's Creek, and what those villages have allowed from water runoff to run into those rivers. One more thing I want to point out, best practices have changed for river maintenance. In the old days, it was build a levee. Now today, it's keep the stream bending with lots of marsh areas. That actually absorbs more water than a levee. So again, we have to wait and see what the Army Corps of Engineers comes back, and certainly it's something that needs to be addressed, but we're going to need help addressing it.
Time's up.
Thank you, Ms. McGovern.
Okay, my notes are very similar to Brad's with the facts on the unfortunate flooding. It is true that options need to be evaluated, and this isn't an area that we're ignoring. We have an employee on our village staff by the name of Marilyn Suko, who is our flood management administrator, and I believe that she's looking at all options, especially with the Army Corps of Engineers, to best work out some of our flooding issues. And the quotes to fix the levee are huge, and we don't even know if that's the solution, but we are working very hard to find a solution, and it is a topic of focus.
Thank you. Ms. Dixit, the next question. We have seen some of the candidates align themselves with groups. If you are elected and you are not with the group you have aligned yourself with, how will you work with the other trustees?
Teamwork is something very important to me. I feel like I am a team player. There are times where you have to be a leader. There are times where you have to take a second seat, a third seat, or even a sixth seat. But I believe that I have a voice, I'm independent of thought, and I'm tenacious enough not to stop with the first no. I'm there, I'm present, and I believe that even if I am the sole person that gets elected, I will be able to handle the situation, get the facts right, and make a good decision based on all of the factors that come to play. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Grau.
Well, I'm not aligned with any slate up here. I'm the only one sitting all by myself. I'm a team player. I always have been. Every job I've had has required me to work as part of a team. I've worked in very diverse fields, so I know how to adjust my communication style depending on who it is that I'm working with or for. I believe in making decisions based on factual research, period. Opinions and emotions need to stay at the door. I believe in a marketplace of idea. I hope that we elect a diverse board, because then we will come to these great ideas through a marketplace. We will eliminate this groupthink that we've seen on the board, and that I believe we will see on the board if we elect another slate. I think we need a diverse a board with a marketplace of ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hasse.
While I am with the Prosperity for Lisle group, I do want to point out that we are 5 individuals, and we all have different opinions on different topics. We do align on the same basic principles as far as freezing taxes and improving transparency in our government and cutting costs. However, if a few of us get elected, or it's a mix of people that get elected, I do believe that we can all work together. I think everyone has it in them to make Lisle a better place. That is our goal. That is why we're all here. And we would have to put personalities aside and work together, and I think that's part of just being part of a team. It's something that you learn growing up. Not everybody will be your best friend in life, but you do need to be kind and get along with them and work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Haddock.
I tend to get along with most people, and, the current board, we'll sit up here and we'll have disagreements, and sometimes we'll say some pretty harsh things in meetings, but that's business. And when it's all done, we're friends, and we talk, and we communicate. This board, the current village board, does a lot of consensus building. I don't like terms rubber stamp and groupthink. The best example I can probably throw out is the Marquette project. When that development first came to town, and if you saw the original plans, there were a lot of issues. Some people were in favor of it as is, some were not. And we spent a lot of time working with Marquette to get to a development that everybody was comfortable with and that we could move forward with. And that's what being part of a board is about. It is building consensus and working together. Doesn't always happen at the dais. A lot of it happens when you're talking with staff. Outside of it, when you make a phone call to a trustee to ask their opinion on something. But so oftentimes when stuff get to this dais, a lot of the basic nuances of running the village, it's pretty simple stuff and everybody's usually in agreement. But even some of the more complex projects, it's been through a planning and zoning process, you've seen memos from staff, you've maybe had it up here once, you've had a discussion with one trustee, then a discussion with another, and it becomes pretty easy to make a decision. So I plan to continue working that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McGovern?
Yes, I also believe that we all have the same goals to strengthen the village that we care so much about. I know that I'm a good listener, and I know where my strengths lie. I know that I will inquire, and I'll ask questions if I don't feel like I understand something fully. I have a really good rapport with people of all ages and of all opinions. I'm confident, and I'm confident enough to stand up by my beliefs. I believe that we can hash it out and build that consensus. We have an excellent support staff, excellent staff on our village board, in which we work with, and I think that we have strong personalities up here, but I think you know your strengths, your weaknesses, and we can form a strong team for something that we care about so deeply, our town of Lisle.
Thank you. Mr. Carballo?
Well, unlike the Prosperity Group that's running as a group, I'm running as an independent, and all of the other candidates are independents. They're not part of a party like the Prosperity Group. I have served on several boards, both Park District boards. I'm on the board, as I mentioned, the Lisle Convention and Visitors Bureau, and on the board of the Village Board. And every board, I think if you were to talk to other trustees or other commissioners when I was on the Park Board, everybody that I've worked with, I've had the ability to work well with, to get along with, to get things done. I don't come onto the board with an agenda other than to try to make our community better. And I think that the village board that we currently have is an excellent village board. We have a lot of business people, a lot of people that have accounting backgrounds, a lot of people who have business backgrounds, and we're a board that is diverse, that is from every area of the town, and that gets things done. And I think that that's what you need when you have a board. You know, you have to have the ability to work well with people and the ability to get things done.
Thank you. Ms. Grau, next question. If the state freezes property taxes, do you have a plan?
Well, I believe wholeheartedly that our goal as a village is to increase our sales tax revenue through development of our town. But this development needs to be done intelligently through data-driven research. The current board doesn't always do this. Let's take a look at the Marquette Properties apartment building that the board approved in the heart of downtown Lisle. They approved this decision while waiving all of the required impact studies that such a development requires. They waived the traffic study. How will the addition of 400 cars impede the traffic flow coming and going from the busiest train station during rush hour? We don't know. Where will the school buses stop to pick up the students that will be added to our school system as a result of this building? We don't know. How many additional students will be added to the school system? How will these additional students impact our class sizes? We don't know. They waived the school impact study. How will the construction of such a building so close to our fire station affect response time? Will the movement of life-saving vehicles be compromised due to the proximity of the new building and the permanent closure of Spencer? We don't know. What will happen when the sewage and rainwater runoff during the next major storm?
1 minute.
When 200-plus residents take their morning shower, do laundry, and wash their dishes? We don't know. We don't know the answers to these questions because the current board decided that saving the developer a couple of bucks took precedence over enforcing these impact studies. Governing by guessing is an irresponsible approach to leadership. I would do better than this. Thank you.
Ms. Hasse?
Could you please repeat the question?
If the state freezes property taxes, do you have a plan?
Yes, I do have a plan. Overall, I think we need to make better decisions in our village with the resources that we have available. We cannot continue to spend money beyond our means. Back in 2007, $18 million was spent to revitalize the downtown area. Of that amount, $7 million was borrowed from the water fund. Water fund, which is a very important fund to have. It will replace pipes, any kind of maintenance to the water towers. That money needs to be there. That is not scheduled to be paid back until 2040, 33 years later. I do believe we need to look at all projects that are going on. We need to be fiscally responsible. I do not think that we need to be looking at spending $5.5 million on Ogden Avenue lights. I do believe there are areas in the budget that can be cut. Thank you.
1 minute.
Thank you. Mr. Heddick?
So as we have been doing, we've been working hard to increase the sales tax base within this community, and additional sales tax revenue will certainly help offset it, as would development, because even if they put a property tax freeze in place, new development that comes online, you would still earn tax revenue, real estate tax revenue from as well. So obviously, if that time comes, though, we will have to look tightly and potentially find some ways to make some cuts. Those are going to be hard decisions to make because the first cuts you're going to have to make are going to be to non-essential services. Those start to get into things like leaf pickup and recycling programs and other stuff like that. So hopefully we won't get to that point, but that may have to be looked at. I do quickly want to counter a couple other items that I heard, though. The $18 million project, I wasn't on the board when it was approved, but to redo downtown, the vast majority of that work had to be done no matter what. It was underground sewers, it was underground water, the roads were in bad shape, the sidewalks were in bad shape. Was additional money spent above and beyond the core cost to complete that, to put in beautiful lights and brick pavers and to make our downtown beautiful? Yes. And I would contend if that hadn't been done, a lot of the businesses that have rebuilt in downtown probably wouldn't have. A lot of the businesses that are in downtown now probably wouldn't be, and Marquette certainly wouldn't be coming to downtown. The other thing is this $5.5 million number I keep hearing for streetlights on Ogden. I don't know where that keeps coming from.
30 seconds.
But there's been a placeholder in the village budget for about $630,000 for lights from pretty much Route 53 to nearing the post office. That was part of the Ogden Avenue Corridor Plan recommendation. It's been requested for safety reasons. It's been requested by residents and businesses to help pedestrian traffic into downtown. The village hasn't approved spending that money yet. Residents still have an opportunity to have input on that, and I look forward to seeing you at a meeting to put in your input. Thank you.
Time's up.
Thank you, Ms. McGovern.
A state tax freeze would affect our village. We've dealt with it before in times of recession as a village. The first thing that I look at, I mean, unfortunately, but is the Public Works Department. The cars can be held on to for the trucks, the vehicles for a little while longer. The rotation for streets for refinishing can go on a little longer of a rotation. But there are things that I feel really cannot be compromised, and that's our police department, family events that we have in Lisle, or existing structures that we fund, Prairie Walk Pond, where the water turns off when the kids leave and the water runs off into a system that fills Garfield Pond or Prairie Walk Pond. I think we've set up our town very efficiently. So, and we do have a tight budget, but I think we can scour it again and
1 minute.
and look over it. We're trying to build revenues. We are building revenues. We definitely are with new businesses coming in. So I think that will help us the most. But I think we operate very smartly in a tight fiscal manner. We have a AA1 Moody's rating, and we know how to run a tight budget, so I'm confident that we could tighten up a little bit more.
Thank you. Mr. Carballo.
If there's a freeze in property taxes, you have to generate revenue from other areas, and what we've done over the past 4 years is significantly increased sales tax revenue, and we've also obtained millions of dollars in grant money, $6 million in grant money. We've been very proactive in reducing expenses, increasing the sales tax revenues, and increasing revenues from other sources, such as grants. For our police department, I think everybody has pretty much said we have an excellent police department. I maintain it's the best police department in DuPage County. But over the last few years, we've also done things that have made the police department more efficient and reduce costs. For example, we have instituted community service officers and volunteers for Lisle programs, which have been used to assist our police officers to do the police work while having our community service officers and our volunteers assist them and do other work that needs to be done by the police department. So we've been very proactive and very fiscally conservative in managing the village. We also have an excellent staff, an excellent financial department, and I submit, in addition to the police department, our financial staff members are the best in DuPage County. So we're very fortunate, and we run a tight ship. We are very good at managing money, and I also disagree with some of the other comments that have been made. The Marquette project is a $50 million project. It's an excellent project. There were studies done. It's an excellent developer, and it's going to be a project that's going to foster growth in our community and make people proud. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Dixit.
Can you repeat the question, please?
If the state freezes property taxes, do you have a plan?
As I understand the question, if the state freezes property taxes right now, what would we do? My plan would be immediately to work the issues, to get all the city officials together, both from the Park District, the Education Governing Boards, all of us to work together to come up with a solution on how to make sure and ensure that all of the things that we require as residents are taken care of. First and foremost, the police and fire. Roads, whether we reuse or combined trucks and the public work officials, we would have to make some very tough decisions if this was to happen. And I think together, not just solely the board, would have to activate. We would have to have cooperation from the entire village, not just one aspect or one prong of the village. We would have to look at it as a global solution and continue to move forward at that point until the freeze was taken up. Thank you.
Thank you. For your closing statements, you'll have 2 minutes. We'll start with Ms. Hasse.
I would like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event so that we could come here tonight and communicate our platform for the Village of Lisle. One of my goals is for the village to retain the same small-town feel, but also bring in more unique shops and restaurants that make Lisle a thriving community where people come to shop and eat on a regular basis. I want to support our local businesses and bring in new businesses that will increase our tax base so that people living in Lisle can afford to stay in Lisle, not have to move due to high property taxes. I want all Lisle residents to feel welcome at board meetings and workshops and know that their input is valuable. People need to feel validated. It is vital in bringing trust and accountability back to our village. Staying the course is not good enough anymore. Complacency is as damaging to our community as having no community spirit at all. It's time for our citizens in all neighborhoods, Old Lisle, north of the tracks, south of the tracks, and green trails to unite and stand up for what is right and honest. I am not a politician, but I am an open, honest human being who believes that every person matters. I challenge everyone in Lisle to think about what has gone on in the past 16 years and reach deep down and decide if that is the path that we want our village to follow for the next 4 years. More tax increases, more Open Meeting Act violations, and excessive spending. It needs to stop. We cannot continue to kick the can down the road for our future generations. Please vote Prosperity for Lisle on April 4th. Your vote makes a difference. Together, we can rebuild our community and take Lisle into the future. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Mr. Heddick?
Thank you again, everybody, for attending. It's really energizing for me because I honestly am not doing this for myself. I am doing this for the residents who have supported me over the years because I really just care about doing what's right for Lisle. As you can tell tonight, there's quite a big divide in visions among some of these candidates. You know, my goal is to continue to keep Lisle fiscally responsible, keep our reserves in place, keep the balanced budget we have, while at the same time working hard to attract new businesses and continue both the development of downtown and the Ogden Avenue corridor. We're at our highest level of occupancy on both Warrenville Road and Ogden Avenue and Maple Avenue, and you see it if you drive it, all the new businesses that have opened up, and there's more coming. They're in the pipeline. Unfortunately, some of the people we're running against, I think, are running because they're against projects like Marquette, and they're against projects like Navistar. And those are not the type of people that I want to see running Lisle into the future. We need the jobs, and we need a business that comes from these organizations. You've heard a number of accusations tonight about backdoor deals. Backdoor deals do not happen in this day and age. We are so regulated by the government. We go into executive session to discuss legal matters. I cannot discuss payroll matters about village employees in front of the public. Sometimes we need to get advice or we need to review selling a piece of property. But this board does everything
30 seconds.
front and center for the public to see, and all of our meetings are broadcast. Again, I want to keep Lisle growing. I love this community. I hope you will vote for me, Brad Heddick, for Village Trustee on April 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McGovern?
Once again, thank you, Chamber, for hosting tonight, and thank you, everyone, for coming. I have served on the Lisle Village Board for the last 8 months. These months have been a great opportunity to observe, learn, participate, and understand the process of our village government. We do not earn grand stipends or to put ourselves out there, to serve as liaisons to our community, to read and research at times 1,000-page board packets. I participate because I am energized to give back to my community that I am so proud of. I am a public servant. I have chosen to continue a career as an educator at a parochial school where I wear many hats and don't make equitable salary as the public school teacher does. But I have chosen this because my heart is in it. I served on the Green Trails Improvement Committee Board because I care about my neighbors and the quality of conditions in which we live. I am concerned about how much money comes out of my wallet, but I want to balance that with the best quality of life and security in our town for my family and for yours. I am your public servant. This is where my heart is. I will vote to invigorate our local economy, increase our revenue, relieving our pocketbooks while maintaining the small town feel and charm that I appreciate so much in Lisle. I will ensure that Lisle continues to be family-friendly, attracting new community members interested in raising their children in an amazing town, and be as proud as I am to do so. Please vote for Christy McGovern for trustee.
Thank you. Mr. Carballo?
I am very proud of the accomplishments that we have made working together over the past 4 years, and I'm also very excited for Lisle's future. I'm also proud to have served on the board with Mayor Broda and the current board members. I think that we have done an excellent job, and I think we will continue to do so. I think that it's important to look at experience in service. And I believe that, my record shows that I have the experience to serve as village trustee and the record of service over the last many years. In my second term as trustee, I will continue to make sure that Lisle maintains strong fiscal position. I will continue to we will continue to provide outstanding village services. We will continue to increase economic development and redevelop and complete the redevelopment of our downtown area.
1 minute.
We will continue to expand civic engagement and promote community spirit in our town, like we have done over the past few years in promoting several festivals, concerts in the park, Veggie Fest, Ice to the Skies, Ale Fest, car shows, French Market, Lights of Lisle. And yes, we support Lights of Lisle. And the money that's spent on Lights of Lisle, like our prosperity opponents have criticized, comes from the hotel motel tax. It doesn't come from our taxpayers, and it's important for our community to maintain things like that. I will fight against attempts by our opponents to annex Lisle into Naperville, and I ask the voters to
30
please
seconds.
look into the issue of the annexation of Lisle into Naperville and who was responsible for that, and see the emails that are out there. I'd also ask you to please look at my Facebook page.
Time's up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was
Ms.
gonna thank everybody and thank my wife too, but I didn't get to that point yet. So, but thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Dixit.
Thank you. Thank you to the Chamber for organizing this event and for all of you to come out to this event. A hometown feel is a major part of Lisle's identity. It is the primary reason my husband and I invested in Green Trails 14 years ago and are currently raising our 11-year-old son there. I've seen 14 years of business come and go from downtown, from Ogden, and from the 88 corporate corridor. I do understand we've had an economic crisis in recent years. However, I'm seeing neighboring cities recover and move on. I don't understand that. Lisle must create a more vibrant business community by streamlining processes. We must implement new incentive programs to encourage businesses to come to expand in Lisle or to come in Lisle. We must continue to promote and enhance city events like we have this Eyes to the Sky. It's a special time for us in our town. We must add to that special time and continue to invite non-residents to come and visit our village and feel how small and wonderful it is. Lisle is at a critical point. We must turn the situation around swiftly. I believe that we must work together to revitalize our village. We must implement new ways for residents and businesses to communicate ideas and complaints, present them to the board. Board meetings and coffee with the mayor are not enough communication, direct communication from citizens. I have been in HR, and I have implemented multiple approaches to improve transparency. Communication is the key, even if the message is not a positive one. I've never been involved in local politics, but I would like the opportunity to sit on this board and work to make Lisle a better place. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Grau.
Thank you all for coming here tonight to participate in this candidate forum. All of my opponents would like for you to believe that you must choose between two slates of candidates for village trustee on April 4th. I'm here to tell you that you don't, and you shouldn't. My number one role as a trustee is to make sure all residents of Lisle are represented, not just one slate versus another. As a village, we need to elect a board of independent thinkers with a common goal of building a stronger community. It is vital that community members are free to openly discuss agenda items in an environment that fosters a community-based outcome. We must leave our emotions at the door and make data-driven decisions through a marketplace of ideas. Replacing one groupthink mentality for another is not the solution. We must elect trustees who are willing to ask the tough questions, trustees who are not afraid to stand alone when necessary, trustees who want to help and want to see a village of Lisle reach its full potential.
1 minute.
I am that trustee. I am committed to this process, and I have been for many years. The Daily Herald endorsed me because of my independence and my desire to make data-driven decisions. I ask you to use one of your 3 votes on April 4th to vote for me, Christy Grau, an independent candidate. Thank you.
Thank you. The Chamber would like to thank the village candidate trustees, Anthony Carbello, Kelly Dixit, Christy Grau, Marie Hasse, Brett Heddick, and Christy McGovern, as well as our mayoral candidates, Joseph Broda and Christopher Pasek, and our clerk candidates, Kim Brondike and David Nelson. We will be broadcasting the forum on YouTube on the Chamber's website, lilechamber.com. Additionally, it will be on Comcast and the Community Channel 18, as well as UVerse Channel 99. There is slips of paper as to the times and the dates as you leave. You can pick them up outside. Please remember to vote on April 4th. Your vote counts, and vote at your local polling places. It's been a pleasure being your moderator, and thank you for joining us this evening.